Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Mark Your Card. We have reached the halfway stage of this year's Cheltenham Festival, and that can mean only one thing. We move on to the new course for the first time for what these days is dubbed St. Patrick's Thursday. So far, it's been a rather frustrating week for trainer Gordon Elliott. Lots of horses running well, but yet to hit the target. That could all change today, though, in the Paddy Power Stayers Hurdle, where he has two live chances, headed by last year's winner, Teupo.
Teupo on the outside. This year is lowering the colours of Paddy Power.
They've got another half furlong to go. Teupo pouring it on, going clear on the run to line, and it will be Jack Kennedy and Teupo who take the Paddy Power Stayers Hurdle.
He's very effective, fresh, so brilliant call from Gordon and Rob Core, so delighted, Jack.
It's a stairs-winning breathing space for Jack Kennedy as Teupo completes the Punchestown Cheltenham double.
For Jack and for the horse, it's a really important win.
And it would be important. It feels maybe a little bit extra important if Teupo could follow up last year's success in the Stayers Hurdle, because Gordon Elliott's hit the crossbar, he's hit the post, but hasn't got quite over the line. Biggest danger might be stable companion, the Wall Park. It's a new course, it's a new day, it's a new co-host. Adele Mulrennan, have you enjoyed the first couple of days?
I have. I'm still, I think, emotionally drained from the first day. It's been very much an emotional roller coaster, I think, for quite a few people. Constitution Hill, that kind of put a real dampener, I think, on the first day for me, and obviously State Man as well. But yeah, it's been great. I really enjoyed it yesterday, obviously, with Michael O'Sullivan's horses winning yesterday. I think that really kind of like lifted the spirits, I think, a little bit. So that was quite, yeah, exactly. So I think that was really nice, and all eyes obviously will be on his brother in the Kim Muir in the last today. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, his brother Alan too rides a walk-in on there, who looks to have a good chance in a wide open race. He was probably going to win the Grimthorpe last time out when falling at Doncaster. Goes for trainer Gary Brown. So yeah, we'll all be, every single one of us, behind Alan Sullivan in the last. But Ryanair Protectorate, another one for the Skeltons. Langer Dan, the news broke earlier, he is out. He joins Mon Morel out. Unfortunately, he scooped dirty this morning, but Dan Skelton already on a high after the new line. How good was he yesterday? Really
enjoyed that performance. He's got such a serious engine, and this time of year you're always looking for horses who are potentially going to return next year. Which way are they going to go? Will they step up and trip? But he looks like a serious contender for the Champion Hurdle for next year. So yeah, I thought he was really smart. Yeah, and Protectorate today maybe could have done a little bit more rain. We'll hear from John Pullen-Clark, of course, in due course. It's officially good. The soft, all around the soft places are gone. Yeah, when I seen you all stood out in the snow yesterday morning, I did feel for you, and I was wondering how much that would have affected the track, but maybe not so much so for him, but more notably Ile Francais. I mean, how are they going to ride him today? Because obviously he went off quite quick in the King George. James has got to get the fractions right today, hasn't he? And we've seen obviously quite a few jumping errors the last couple of days. So you've got to jump, Niall, and you've got to get them fractions right. But I like Ile Francais. I really liked him when he won the Corto Star. Obviously the King George didn't go all his way, but hopefully if he can get the fractions right today, I thought he might be. If he's on his A game, he's going to make it the spectacle, because he's going to jump and he's going to run. Well, his jumping has kind of always been his main asset, so fingers crossed. I know there's a little bit of a worry about the undulations in this track, because he's been predominantly kind of raced on flat tracks, but he's such a big, imposing, athletic type that I can't imagine it's going to give him too many worries today. So it'll be interesting to see. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a serious race, because the pace, I think, will be the important factor, because obviously a few of those horses ridden quite aggressively from the front, and it seems to have suited that style of race over the years. So yeah, looking forward to that. Okay, we're looking forward to it all. We're looking forward to bringing you every race live. We're going to be previewing it in the next couple of hours here on Mark Your Card, as we welcome Angus McNay once again at the halfway point. Good morning, Angus.
Niall, good to see you. Hi, Adele. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Racing TV studios once again. Lots to come for you in the programme today. I'll be doing a bit of race IQ analysis a little bit later on. But let's set the day up first of all and have a look at what we can enjoy here on Racing TV throughout the afternoon. Every single race live for you on ground officially described as good to soft. It's a 1:20 start with the Ryanair Mares Novices Hurdle. It's 2 miles and 179 yards. We've got the Jack Richards Novices Limited Handicap Chase Grade 2 at 2 o'clock over 2.5 miles. The fiercely competitive Pertemps That's handicap hurdle over just shy of 3 miles. The big, one of the big ones, the Ryanair Chase, Grade 1. 9 runners going to post at 3:20 for that. Factor File, he'll be the favourite for the Willie Mullins team. Then the Stayers Hurdle, Tehupu's back, defending his crown, and that comes up at 4 o'clock. The Trusted Trader Plate, handicap chase, 2.5 miles at 4:40. And finally, the Fulk Warwin Kinmure Challenge Cup, amateur jockeys handicap, and that's over 3 miles and 2 furlongs. Good to soft, 7 races. We get underway at 1:20. So that's what you can enjoy with us today. We've got absolutely everything for you. Every single angle covered, courtesy of our coverage and courtesy of the website as well. Lots for you to enjoy there at the moment. If you go there, you'll find Lydia Hislop's best bets for day 3 of the Cheltenham Festival. Lots of other tips for you there, including those from Andy Stevens and Dave Nevison. There is a Cheltenham microsite. Lots of information for you there. And there are also race cards and results where you can find all of the race IQ data as well. I hope you've been utilising that throughout the week. So everything you could possibly need to complement your viewing with us throughout the rest of the day. And you might want to get involved in this, the Cheltenham Challenge. It's your chance to win a Racing TV merchandise bundle. It's free to play, so why not have a go? You've got to tip the winners of all of the races, 1:20 to 5:20 at Cheltenham. Get up to your TV screens now, scan that QR code. There you go. If you haven't had time to do that, racingtv.com/Cheltenham Challenge, the place to go to enter. It's free and you can win Racing TV merchandise, and it's really good quality. Yeah, so please do get involved in the Cheltenham Challenge, and do stay with us. We've got an awful lot for you in Mark Your Card before the live racing gets underway at 1:20. Let's go back to Gary O'Brien on course. He's joined by Jane Mangan and Chris Dixon.
Angus, thank you very much. Good morning to you, and welcome everyone. Welcome to Jane and to Chris. Guys, the sun has just come out here as Angus is thrown across to us, but my first question is going to be, are we all agree this is the coldest morning so far, surely?
I think we're getting a bit softer as the week progresses as well, but you know what? It's not warm, Gary, I'll give him that. If anybody's coming, you cannot wear too many coats.
Poor old Chris is taking the brunt of it here.
Surely it was cold.
I promise you, it's colder today. You're getting the brunt of it there. The wind tunnel's coming through this way, isn't it?
Yeah, I am. At least I've got the stance for a windbreak at the minute.
You were on duty here yesterday. How was it for you? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was good. I suppose you can't fail to enjoy days at the festival, can you? It's been a week that hasn't really followed the script in a lot of ways, hasn't it? Certainly in terms of fancied horses. More have not given the running for one reason or another than have done. And yesterday was sort of no different on that front. A couple of surprise defeats in a sense, and it's kind of disappointing when horses just don't turn up and give the running because of those mistakes and things, because you don't necessarily get the races that you want. I thought the opener yesterday was delivered on every level as the race that you wanted, because I think that was the race of the day in many ways. I know there was excellent stories and performances elsewhere, but that race just shaped up perfectly from the turn in. They all got a clear shot at it. The big 3 came to the fore. They were well on top of the rest. There was no doubt who were the best 3 on paper going into it, but you could make your arguments one way or another as to who was the best. And down the line, the best might end up being something else, but they're going to be doing very different things in the future, aren't they? I think the New Lion is a champion hurdle type horse. Final Demand is a staying chase type horse. The Yellow Clay, I'm not quite sure what he fits into right now in the longer term, but they're all very good horses, and I just thought that race set the day up perfectly.
It really did. Jane, obviously the headline horse really yesterday was John Bond. We all kind of built it up as his golden opportunity to have his big day at the Cheltenham Festival. It didn't happen. I mean, how frustrating is that for his connections and his legion of supporters, because surely he won't get a better chance.
Oh, he won't, and it was about as frustrating as anybody who supported Ballyburn in the Novice Chase. You know, it, as Chris has said, you know, the first 2 days have just not gone to script. It would make you question Tupo today. You know, we're going to talk about his credentials a little bit later on. He did marvellously well to still finish second.
Didn't he just? Still never finished out of the first 2.
Unbelievable. Nico gave him a chance to recalibrate after that shuddering mistake. He did really well to even stay on him. And Quilixios was running the race of his life when he came down. Anybody who's worried about the Henry de Bromhead form, look at that. Don't forget that he was going to run a huge race. But yeah, it was an emotional day, those 2 wins with Jazzy Matty and Marine Nationale. Whatever way you look at it, it was a little bit spooky.
It really was.
Those 2 horses winning within an hour of each other. The Brown Advisory was anticlimactic for me. Like Lecky Watson was fabulous. Huge day for Sean O'Keefe and the Slaneyville Syndicate. But I just get the feeling that Dancing City didn't turn up and Ballyburn didn't perform. I echo what you say about the first race. 3, I think, real ones. You know, I met Gordon Elliott afterwards and I said, I think you just found yourself in a really, really hot race. The Yellow Clay had everything went right for him. He was in the perfect position. I'd say Harry Skelton was following Paul Townend and he had to use gas to get there and then use gas to get away. I watched it from the last hurdle and he was so long at the last. Stateman, watch that. You know, he came up and he delivered. He's a fast horse. I'd say the other 2s are staying chasers, but they're 3 stars of the future.
Very much so. And we must give Marine Nationale his due as the winner of that MGM Queen Mother Champion Chase. Whatever your view about what might have happened with Calixia, I think he'd have won anyway, personally. Marine Nationale came up the hill so strongly. It was a huge day for everybody connected with that horse.
It was fabulous result and a really good performance from a horse who has now shone twice at this meeting. I think the big thing is that this track, the old course at Cheltenham, and that type of race is absolutely ideal for him. And it was interesting listening to his trainer afterwards that he was kind of light on experience, wasn't he, really, as a chaser coming into this season. He's got better all the time. But I think yesterday was the first time that he'd actually had his sort of ideal test, in a sense, over fences. You look at his 2 runs at Leopardstown. I was saying yesterday after racing that the first of them he was round the inside, wasn't he? So probably on the wrong part of the track. I know he swung out a little bit later on. Then the second one, he took that wider route. But you're already over 2 miles 1 at Leopardstown, and then when you think that they're all going out wide, you're actually probably knocking on for 2 1/4 miles. He's not really a 2 1/4 mile horse, is he?
He's a speed merchant.
Yeah, and he gets here over just shy of 2 miles. Yeah, you've got a stiff finish, but it's a speed track essentially. You've got to travel, and it just suits him perfectly, and he very much bounced back, and that was his best over fences yesterday, and I think he probably would have won anyway.
Yeah, really exciting day again here on day 2. Hopefully more of the same today. As we were saying, we are moving on to the new course for the first time. Let's get an all-important going update from the clerk of the course, John Pullen, who's with Niall Hannity.
And who'll lead over this here just after 3:20 today? Could it be the Irish Factive File, the French Le Francais, or Protectorat for the English, last year's winner for the Skeltons? John Pullen mightn't necessarily tell us that, but he will tell us all about the ground today. Good to soft yesterday. It's tightened up a little bit, just good to soft.
Yes, yeah, we've walked it this morning and just taken the soft out. You know, we've been pretty dry. We had that snow obviously yesterday morning, which kept the moisture in quite nicely, but taken the soft out, and should ride pretty similar, I think, to how the old course has ridden for the last 2 days, so very much good to soft ground.
And you're happy? That's sort of your aim, isn't it, start of the week?
Yes, absolutely. We were hoping we could start the week like that, and in an ideal world not have to intervene with any irrigation during the week, and I think the snow actually did us a favour yesterday in sort of keeping that moisture in this new course for the next 2 days.
Obviously, after today done and dusted, all eyes on tomorrow, the feature, the Cheltenham Gold Cup. What's the weather telling you between now and then? Do you plan to do anything? Yeah, so we actually put the covers over takeoffs and landings again last night. Again, very precautionary. We did dip down to minus 2.5, only for a very brief period, around 1 o'clock this morning. But then it soon warmed up after that. Tonight, a cooler forecast than that. The air temperatures could actually get down to around -2 for a more prolonged period, with ground temperatures sort of potentially -3 for a period as well. So we'll certainly be covering takeoffs and landings, and may do a little bit more. We'll just assess what the forecast is saying later on in the day. But no concerns for racing. You know, daytime temperatures tomorrow get up fairly quickly in the morning. We should be sort of +2, +3 by 8, 9 o'clock, and then they rise to around 8 o'clock by the afternoon, which is similar for today, around 8 degrees. maybe the favourite, Galloping Chumps, would like a little bit more juice in the ground, but it's just sort of perfect ground where you want to be, isn't it?
That's it. You know, this is, or has been, certainly on the old course, has been nice, safe. You know,
no excuses ground.
No excuses ground, and hopefully this new course will ride the same today, and we'll stay there for tomorrow as well.
Willie Mullins' dominant day yesterday, not maybe with his first strings. Did you enjoy yesterday?
Yeah, it was a great day's racing again. You know, I think you know, it was a day that was emotional for all sorts of reasons, and you know, it was just a great day, a great day's racing, really poignant, and I don't think you could have written that script at all. But really good for, you know, sort of racing community, racing family who've pulled together in recent weeks. Just to have that moment yesterday, so a really special day.
Absolutely, we might just top that today. Obviously, Marine National and Chelsea Matty, the horses you talk about, if Walker and Erica win the came here with Alan O'Sullivan on board, would be could get a louder reception than any.
I think it could. No, it would be amazing if that did come off, and very special again. You know, we've had 2 great days racing so far for all sorts of reasons. Very much looking forward to it again today. Plenty of runners today, so hopefully some good action.
So in short, good to soft, and you envisage that's going to be the same today and tomorrow.
Yes, that's certainly the aim.
Good stuff. Thanks very much for your input once again.
Thank you.
Clerk of the course, John Pullen, with an update on conditions today on the new course. We're very much looking forward to all of the action on it from 1:20 this afternoon. And one of the big features today, of course, is the Stayers Hurdle. And this is how they bet for the Stayers Hurdle this afternoon. They'll go 3 miles. Tehupu is back to defend his crown. Home by the Lee, who ran so well in the race last year, to be third. He is back as well, but Tehupu is favourite. Jack Kennedy, he'll have to go before the doctor today to get cleared to ride. He'll be on board if he's okay, 13-8. The Wall Park 4-1. Lucky Place 9-2, and Home by the Lee is 11-2. Bob Ollinger 11-1. Mystical Power 18-1, Rocky's Diamond 20s, and the Mean Line 22-1, 25's Crambo, Gal Road, he might be the speed in the race, 25-1, Buddy 150s, and it's 66-1, Franciscan Rock and Garlaw. Yeah, 2 important non-runners there, 8 and 10, including Langer Dan. Home by the Lee has got a good Cheltenham record. Last 3 years he's run really creditably at this meeting. 2022 he was 6th, he finished 5th in 23, and last year really good run in a race that wasn't run to suit the Stayers last year. It was a bit of a dash for home from the top of the hill, but he did finish 3rd. He could have done with a stiffer test than he got there, and he comes into the race this year in better form than he did last year. Let's hear from his trainer, Joseph O'Brien.
And Home by the Lee, like, he's a stalwart, but he seems to be probably in better form than ever this year.
Yeah, he is. I think this will be his 4th run in the Stayers Hurdle, and arguably he probably goes back there with as good probably a better chance than he has done in any of the 3 previous seasons. He's off the back of one of his career best efforts. He likes to be fresh, so the plan always was to go straight from Leopardstown to Cheltenham, and we're excited to go there in what looks an open race. Obviously, Tehupu is a champion and a great stayer, but we feel like we can give him a run for his money this year.
He left the blinkers off for his seasonal return. They were back on again last time. Do they matter to him, or?
I think they probably do. You know, his first run back when he's a bit fresh, and that we felt we'd leave them off and just get him started. And he really, you know, came back in fine fettle this year. That was a great performance in Navan. And then I thought it was a really good performance in Leopardstown the last day as well. And you know, I think he's coming to Cheltenham probably in the best shape that he's been in his life, and I think that gives him a real life chance.
He really finds for pressure, doesn't he? And
yeah.
A lot of the top staying hurdlers of the past, that's kind of, they raced a bit behind the bridle like he does.
In his early days he was, you know, a very straightforward, you know, you could put him anywhere, and as he went chasing then, and he had a good novice chase season, but he lost his confidence jumping a little bit, and then when we came back over hurdles, he had a habit to lose concentration in the race, and he had a flat spot and he still has that habit a little bit. It really cost him dearly in Cheltenham, where he made a bad mistake passing the stand last year, I think it was. But hopefully this year he can maintain his concentration all the way, and if he does, he'll be in the mix.
Home by the Lee certainly seems in a good place right now, and Joseph O'Brien already on the score sheet here this week. We're going to have a look back at last year's race, where he, Buddy One and Crambo were behind Tihupo. Jane, what about this form? Is it going to stand up today?
I think it will. Again, this was a slowly run, kind of a muddling race. I think Jack Kennedy found himself wider than he was ideal. And at the time, Flooring Porter, was a formidable challenger in this type of a race. So I think actually looking at the lineup there, that's probably a stronger race than we have today, unless the Wall Park turns into a Flooring Porter. I just like the way Tihupo isn't a flash horse, but yet he still has the pace for a 2.5 mile Grade 1 like the Hatton's Grace, so he's not slow. Don't see an awful lot of pace in today's race. 13 runners now left in with 2 non-runners. Whether Jack will be on board is a question mark, but Danny Gilligan is going to be a useful sub if he's needed. He's not a difficult ride. John Bond's been beaten. Constitution Hill fell. Divine intervention can happen.
Yeah, and Chris, he's had the same sort of preparation as he did 12 months ago, just a 1 run in the Hatton's Grace Hurdle at Fairyhouse, but the difference this time is he didn't win it. He was swatted aside here by Lossiemouth. It was a messy sort of race, maybe one not to draw too many conclusions from, but it's not exactly a positive all the same, is it?
No, it's not, but then he was probably up against it to an extent against Lossiemouth, that given what she is capable of when everything's right for her. And yeah, he was no match. He sort of looked more of a stayer, didn't he? He looked like it was more of an inconvenience to him this year, the 2.5 miles, and maybe that was partly that it was better ground over 2.5 miles than it had been when he'd beaten Perry Pass the year before on a slower surface. I still don't think it's a bad run from him, and you just kind of look and think, well, his whole campaign has surely been geared towards this. They knew exactly what they were doing. They've got him here. The market support for his stablemate is quite eye-catching, but the Wall Park just looks like a thorough stayer, and I agree with Jane. I think that last year's race was a little bit messy, a little bit tactical, but it looks like it's the same again today in a sense, and I don't think that the race has got any more depth this year than last year. I think, as Jane said, last year's race was perhaps stronger, so he definitely looks the horse to beat. But as I said a couple of times yesterday, it's not always that simple, and we've had reminder of that this week.
It's an impressive CV he's put together, Tihupo. We'll see if he can add further lustre to that today. But we're going to have a look now at one of his big rivals here, and that's Home by the Lee. We heard from his trainer there, Joseph O'Brien. And I suppose it all boils down to whether Home by the Lee is indeed a better horse coming into the race this year than he has in the past, because Chris, he's had a few goes at this already, and he's just been found wanting on each occasion. But I think they have changed his routine a little bit. They might possibly ride him a bit differently today as well. Here's his win at Leopardstown at the Christmas Festival, where he beats Bob Ollinger, who's in the field again today, and Rocky's Diamond, who's upheld the form subsequently also. How live a threat do you reckon he can prove?
I think he's a threat, but he's going to have to be better if Tihupo's at the same sort of level, isn't he? Because he was beaten readily enough by him last year, and he was in behind the year before, admittedly with a bad mistake, but I thought Tihupo was the one that was unfortunate behind Side of Earlier the year before, really. Maybe they have switched things around, maybe he's better than ever, but he's a 10-year-old, and believing that he's hugely better than he has been coming into this race in the past, for me, is perhaps a little bit far-fetched. The figures don't necessarily say that he's running to a higher level right now than what he has done in the past. So I think he's going to have to be better. I think he's a strong staying horse, and he might be one of those that does want the race to develop a good way out, which can happen on this track given the amount of galloping that you do and not that much jumping in the final 3/4 of a mile. But sort of look at it and just think, what's the reason really that he beats Tihupo, having been behind him a couple of times? I can't see the obvious one. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but I just can't put the argument forward as to why. Okay, Jane, I know you've said already you feel it's not necessarily a better race this time around, but there are some new contenders lining up to take on the reigning champ. One of those is Nicky Henderson's Lucky Place, and he's stepping up to 3 miles for the first time today. We're going to have a look at his win here on New Year's Day in the Relkeel Hurdle, where he beats Gowl Road and Langardan, who of course is not in the field today, was back in 5th. Very lightly raced.
Is there a bit more to come from this guy?
No doubt. I think they were considering chasing for him, and it got a bit late in the season, so they said he'd stay over hurdles, and look how it's paying off for him. He beat Blue King Daru in the Ascot hurdle back in November, and I think he's built on that with this performance. I think he's a horse that would benefit from a sedate pace. He's not proven over the 3 miles, and that may well again happen for him. Nicky Henderson isn't known for his stayers. But yeah, there's a bit more to come from him. Do I believe he's worthy of his rating of 153? No, I don't. But the handicapper is usually right. So if he is, he'll be going very close.
And yes, that is the champion hurdle winner, Golden Ace, back in third, who he'd also beaten at Ascot earlier on in the campaign. Is he a horse you like, Chris?
He's a horse I like. I'm not convinced that he wants 3 miles on quite a stiff track. I think that's a doubt for him. But Jane and I have already said that it might not be a complete test of stamina. And actually, when you've watched him here a couple of times, he has kind of made quite a nice move to get himself into the race. So he probably does have a little bit of an ability to pick up and quicken. So he's 6 years old. He's something different. And I suppose if you're looking to take on the favourite, I think to me, the thing to do is to look at something different, something that's coming in. You know, I'm not convinced that attesting 3 miles is what he wants, but it's something that he hasn't done, and he might improve for it, and the race might end up suiting him. So he is something different, and he is improving, and that form is stacking up.
Yeah, it certainly is. Gal Road did his bit for it next time, of course. What about the Wall Park, though? He's been a big market mover in the run-up to this race. He's a stable companion of the favourite, owned these days by JP McManus. He was in different colours, the colours of Fran Mangan, when he won a Pertemps qualifier here at the meeting on the 26th of October. There seems to be a real sense of momentum with this horse going into today, Jane. I actually get the feeling from the trainer that he might not reckon there's a huge amount between them.
I don't disagree with that, albeit it is hard to believe that a horse has gone from a rating of 129 to 152 could progress that rapidly, but it seems to be the case. He strikes me as a kind of a Sir de Burley type horse. He would benefit from a real end-to-end. He's a really strong finisher, and while he might come off the bridle down the hill, he stays extremely well. We're talking about a number of horses in a Stayers Hurdle who are questionable stayers. So that's why I think the real market support's going to come from him, because he's a reliable and consistent stayer. We have learned from history that the horse that's likely to dethrone the king is going to be a younger progressive horse. That is why I'm kind of against Home by the Lee. 10-year-old, 4th time lucky. Realistically, if it happens, I just would be deflated. Nothing against the horse, he's a lovely horse. If it happened with the likes of a Lucky Place or the Wall Park, I can kind of understand it, because they're heading in the right direction. They had the option of the Pertemps off 152. I'm not surprised they didn't go there. He's, for me, the one that's most likely to give them something to think about. It's going to be, I think this is going to be Gordon's race.
Yeah, I think he's a huge threat myself, Chris, and the market support for him would only lend further substance to that. I know he's beaten by Crambo in the Long Walk Hurdle, but you kind of got the feeling you're going to see a better the Wall Park after that.
He's not very quick, is he? And I think that this is Gordon's race as well, because I think he's kind of got both angles covered. If it's a relative speed test at the trip, TFO will have too much for them, I think. If it becomes more of a stamina test, that brings the Wall Park into the race. He is not going to be coming after 2 outs, swinging down the hill on the bridle. That is just not him. He will be off it, but he will do some of his best work from before the last to the line. I'm sure of that, because he's definitely a strong stayer. Just the way that I picture the race happening today, I think that he'll lose his pitch when they pick up the tempo, and he'll stay on. And I think he'll be a never nearer second or third, something like that. I think that's sort of where I think it's going to be. If the race develops further out, becomes more of a test, it draws him into it, because then that late work might see him pick them up. But I think lack of pace, weirdly enough, over 3 miles might catch him out.
The winner for you is?
TFO, I think he'll win it again.
TFO. I'm going to go for the Wall Park, Jane.
Chupo, Gordon to have the 1-2.
It looks like Gordon Elliott will be celebrating one way or another, according to the three of us anyway, after the Paddy Power Stayers Hurdle. Let's take a deeper look at it, going through the data now at Race IQ. Back to Angus.
Gary, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, I'm going to back up what Chris and Jane were saying there, really, about Tiupu. He is a fast horse, essentially. We're going to have a look at the final 6 furlongs of last year's Stayers Hurdle. And bearing in mind that as we do so, Remember that a steering phalange took them through the first 2.25 miles in really steady fractions, 15.5 and 16-second furlongs. And then the pace really picked up at the top of the hill. And those sectionals for you on the side of your screen, courtesy of Race IQ. 13.28, furlong 19, 12.86, 13.09, 13.2, 13.98, 16.41. And Tehupu hit a top speed of 36.11 miles an hour down the hill. That was the fastest speed hit by any horse at the festival in 2024. Hard as it may seem to believe, he ran the fastest miles per hour than any horse at the festival last year down the hill when they turned the taps on. Look at that quick furlong, that 20th furlong, 12.86. They were rattling along from the top of the hill. Followed that up with a 13.09. Now, he finished off a bit tired, but still his finishing speed percentage was 108.29%. So in a staying race, it's after all called the Stayers Hurdle, he was 8% quicker in the final 4 furlongs than the rest of the race. He is a horse who is blessed with plenty of speed. He can act over 2.5 miles, as we've seen in the Hatton's Grace. And his jumping isn't brilliant. He was a 6.9 jump index there. His lifetime jump index is 7.5. He's an average jumper of a hurdle, really, but he gets away with it over 3 miles. You don't need to be so quick and slick over 3 miles as you do over 2, and his speed gets him out of trouble. This graph illustrates the messy nature of the race last year. You can have a look at the race sector underneath, i.e. the furlongs, and the sectional times on the side axis. Now, when the line goes up, they are slowing down. Look at that, up, down, up, down. It's really messy. It's very stop-start, this race. They get to very slow fractions early on, around about 17 seconds. Then suddenly, 2 mile 1 furlong down the hill, whoosh, off they go. And that's when the sprint was on from that point there, with that line going sharply down. And then having sprinted for 3-4 furlongs, they gradually got tired up the hill in the closing stages. So last year's race turned into a dash. Tehupu was way too quick for his rivals on the day. And there might not be so much pace on today, as the guys were saying on course. Gal Road might take them along in the early part. The best chance they've got, though, I think, of defeating Tehupu is to nullify that turn of speed that he's got.
Mark your card. Proudly sponsored by Timeform.
At Betfair, we're here for those who seek a different approach to the Cheltenham Festival. Only a third of races were won by favourites last year. So seeing front-runners in outsiders and knowing when to go against the grain can make all the difference. Get a completely free bet available every day this Cheltenham on any racing multi. Betfair. Play different.
Mark your card. Proudly sponsored by Timeform.
It's only day 3, but we've reached the peak where Michelle, Emily and Albert Rue you're looking at, and we are going to tuck into some serious food. Well done, Neil Phillips. You finally done right.
It's been a long time. Yeah. Actually, Michelle would say it's been a very, very long time, wouldn't you?
Very long time, Neil.
You know, it's always good, these intros, you know. It's always a real lift for me, actually, I have to say.
I've never given him a compliment in 20 years.
Michelle's still waiting for a winning tip, by the way. And in actual fact, just to say, I walked in, because I had a 16-1 winner on Tuesday.
Did you?
Yeah. And I did. Yeah, I did, really. And Michelle very casually said, so did I.
It sounds like I've come in for the best day anyway.
Yeah, you have. I mean, we're celebrating. Emily, you got news for us?
Well, my restaurant Caractère in Notting Hill recently got its first Michelin star, so yeah, huge celebration. Celebrations have continued. Yes.
Dad would be proud, Grandad would be extra proud.
Yes, I think both of them are extra proud. Yeah.
Are you?
I'm over the moon, and I think it's the dedication, hard work, and had absolutely nothing to do with me other than occasionally babysitting now.
Is that right?
That's very true. Thank God my parents are there to help us out, because we've got 2 young sons and running a restaurant, so it's logistically interesting, put it that way.
But it's a labour of love, Adele, isn't it?
Can I ask you, Emily, obviously racing is a sport where female and male compete against each other, and I can imagine, I know obviously it's not a sport being a chef, but I kind of get the same vibes that being a female. How is it for you working with the males? Is it tough?
Yes and no. I think we've evolved so much over the years. When I came out of catering college, in my first job, I was the only female in the whole kitchen, and it was about 30 people. So it felt quite lonely at that time. But then, when my career progressed and the years goes on, there was so many more women in there. And I think today, things are a lot better, honestly. And I mean, we've got a couple of girls in our kitchen, and it just makes the ambience so much better. But yeah, I think we're on the right route.
Good.
Actually, it's good, really, because also the thing, what's happening as well is in terms of sommeliers, and more female sommeliers, isn't it? More female masters of wine, for example. We're seeing lots of changes like that, which is all good. I totally agree with you. You've got, it's just great energy then, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's what's really fantastic.
Definitely.
As well, I think.
Yeah.
And congratulations.
Thank
really
you.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much. You've still got to come and
well, I'm coming. I've booked.
Okay.
Or someone's booked. Someone's. I didn't mean it like that, by the way. I'm not coming in a side door.
Okay.
He's fishing for an invite here, I think.
I've never done that.
You know him too well.
And what's it like working with your dad, and vice versa? Any family arguments in the kitchen?
Tell the truth.
No throwing any knives, I hope.
No, I think we get on pretty well in general. We've got sort of the same palate and same appreciation for food in general, and passion. So I'd say we get on pretty damn well. I mean, in any case, I'm always right.
I say nothing.
How busy is today? But 500?
Yeah, it's 500 plus. So full house, as you can see, and every day here at Cheltenham is special. It's just wonderful to feel the buzz in this restaurant, and it's just wonderful.
I mean, one of the things sorry, just one of the things I was going to say. It's interesting. Just before we started the piece, you were talking about some guests actually having beef as a starter, but also beef as main course.
What have we got?
Yeah, let's have a chat.
Well, I mean, talking about the beef, you've got beef here, the beef carpaccio with the raisins, the horseradish mayonnaise, the pickled shallots, tarragon. It's a great starter. And then if you like beef. Really like beef. You have the beef main course, which you've got over there.
And this is.
So we've got a roast fillet of beef, and then on the side the shin that's been braised for a long time, and there's also some bone marrow crumb and a delicious pomena and a beef shoe, obviously, to go on top. So very, very classical dish, but hearty, perfect for this weather. Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong with that.
No.
And what about Adele? What have you got?
One of my faves.
Oh, you've got the pork. Yeah, so the pork loin, slow roasted there. Pork cheek, which is cooked overnight and really sticky and soft. Little cabbage that's been stuffed with smoked sausage, an apple kind of ketchup, potato dumpling, and some sauce to go on top.
I'm looking forward to trying this. And I can imagine the soup's probably was a popular one yesterday, with it being cold and snowy. Has it gone down well?
Classic French onion soup. This is a signature dish of this restaurant. We first put it on, I think it was about 8 years ago, and then everybody was saying, oh God, this has got to stay on the menu. So it's the first thing on the menu, and it is unbelievably popular. But it was cold yesterday. I think we sold more of these than we did of those.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yes.
Actually, that's absolutely gorgeous. I love the weight of it. I love the freshness as well. It's just, I lost a bit of concentration there, really. I'm just going, I'm so into this dish.
His manners are terrible.
Really.
I'm going to have a little bit as well.
Yeah, I think we're just going.
Emily, what do you got?
So I've got a cauliflower and artichoke mousse, and then on top we've got some artichoke barigoule, some fried rice, and some crisp
Jerusalem artichokes.
I had it in French. But...
What's in French?
Topinambour.
That's the one. You're right. You're right. What I like about this as well, Neil, it's great coming for top food, But look at the view. You're right by the last hurdle, the last fence. You can see up the winning line. It's a proper view.
It's a proper view, and certainly was a proper view on Tuesday as well. I mean, in terms of all the action there, and obviously what happened in the Champion Hurdle. But I love it. I've always loved being down the course a bit rather than being up by the finishing line, because I love tactically as well. We always see that piece. We saw it yesterday, actually, a bit of manoeuvring going on just coming before they started coming to the last yesterday as well. I love that. It's my favourite position on the course down here. You will see me later.
What happens about half 3, 4 o'clock in the feature race? Does it get noisy? Do people start leaving their seats and running towards the balcony?
Absolutely. I think they all head out and are there for that special moment. The food can wait at that point, or we'll bring it back later on, and it's just a beautiful moment. You hear all the cheering from the kitchen. You can actually hear everyone, and it's just a burst.
It is a roar, isn't it? They call it the roar, and it is. It's immense.
It's beautiful.
And knowing Michelle, you'll be in the back, and about 20 minutes afterwards, go, what horse won it? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a betting person, and I'm not really into my horses that much, but you can't help yourself get involved in this. And a dear friend of mine, Ronnie Bartlett, does message me occasionally and give me the odd tip. So far this week, if you're listening, Ronnie, thanks, mate.
And just in terms of this year, because in terms of layout here, you're talking about atmosphere. I love the layout this year for Cheyroux. It's the best ever for me. But also in terms of menu, yes, we've got favourites back, which is great. But in terms of the menu this time, were there other new things you were looking at in terms of flavours, or how did you approach it this time, really?
No, I mean, every year we look at, obviously, seasonality. We're not going to put asparagus on the menu or strawberries on the menu. And then signature dishes like this one, we know this is popular and people come back for that. So,
sure.
That's the way. And of course, it evolves. Yes. We have to tweak it a bit because otherwise people will get a little bit bored. So,
It must have been difficult, though, because it was quite warm last week, and I think everyone was probably wanting more colder salads maybe for a starter, and then it's been so cold this week, so it must have been quite difficult to try and decide what you wanted on your menu.
I think we always try and because we really devise these menus 6-8 months in advance, and it's always tricky when it comes to weather. We try and have a few dishes that will cover both, basically. So with a carpaccio, if it's great weather and it's warm, you can head for that. But the soup is there for these very winter and cold weather. So we try and accommodate both eventualities,
just in case. Because I know obviously you kind of go on seasonal, can't you? I suppose, and whatever is seasonal at the time, whatever kind of food is seasonal at the time, that's kind of what you kind of work around, I presume.
I mean, let's be honest, though, it is always cold here.
It might be sunny. It's very pragmatic.
It might be sunny, but it's still cold.
People were saying about yesterday about a slight flurry of sleet and snow, but the Thinker 1987, the race was delayed because of the snow.
Yes, it was.
It's the UK, it's March.
I was here. It's great. I mean, it's just and just food and obviously importantly about the wines as well, because you've got your two sommeliers as well, part of the team this year, which is great. And just talk us through the wines, Michelle. We've got your Chapoutier, your partnership here with the whites.
Yes, so we included is the two house whites. So we've got the Michel Roux and Michel Chapoutier white wine, lovely and fresh and crisp and still full of life.
I'd already tasted it.
You've already had a sip.
That's exactly what it is. What you just said is exactly what that tastes like.
Gosh, I got it right.
Yeah.
It's very easy, isn't it?
It's easy drinking. You don't want something too heavy or too complex, or you want something easy drinking. And then the red, we've got a Gaspard, Chateau Gaspard, Bordeaux blend. I'm doing your job here.
Hey, hold on a minute.
It's got a nice bit of age on it as well. You can see by the colour it's been there a while. It's got that lovely roundness. It's smooth, goes down really well.
From 2015, which was a really good vintage.
Great year.
And really attractive. That's tasting great. I really
that
like
with the beef?
Yes.
Oh,
no, that's it.
heaven.
I mean, that's the day made now. I mean, I know, but actually, seriously, I mean, what's great is really good. It's really good now, just to drink that.
Adele, what's your favourite?
The pork is beautiful. Absolutely love it. I'm interested to see what kind of dessert we've got, and I think we have one on the way. So let's have a look. And
let's
see
have a look at the dessert.
I think we have a dessert coming.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to
you.
Did you think we forgot now?
I was hoping you did.
You weren't getting away with it today.
Happy birthday to you.
That was good. Come on.
No, I must apologise. We're not allowed to put a candle because of fire regulations. But happy birthday.
Thank you very much indeed. What have I got for my birthday cake?
Passion fruit délice.
Right.
So a passion fruit mousse, passion fruit jelly on the top, and a Joconde biscuit on the bottom with a coconut sorbet on the side.
Yeah, good. Like that?
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And now this is a special birthday for you, special occasion, okay? You're in Cheyrou. You'll remember this forever. There you go.
Right. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye because I'm going to get stuck into this. We'll see you soon. Yeah, look at that there. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? Right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Cheers. Cheers. Congrats. Congrats.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Niall.
Imagine being lucky enough to have your birthday fall during the Cheltenham Festival. Mind you, Chris Dixon's just told me he much would have preferred a chocolate cake. Maybe Chris will have one for him later on. So your birthday, Barry, is it?
No, not today, Gar. We missed mine.
Barry, you're from Betfair. We're going to talk purely business with Barry then. Where do you want to start, Barry? The Stayers Hurdle or the Ryanair, maybe?
We'll start in the Ryanair. It's our super boost for today is in the Ryanair. Factor file is 6-4 at the moment. We've super boosted out to 11-4. You heard me right, Gar. 11-4. Factor file and the super boost on the Betfair Sportsbook.
I presume there's a bit of small print there, is there?
Well, yeah, usual T's and C's apply. Don't forget to have a look at that. Ile Francais has been relatively strong, it has to be said, against the favourite as well. Was 4-1, is into 5-2, but he's going to have plenty of people taking him on at that price on the exchange. But Factor file, the big super boost today.
Stayers Hurdle, Cupo in the run-up to the meeting is a horse that bookmakers seem to want to get. Is that still the case?
It's still the case, yeah. 11-8 on the Betfair Sportsbook. Now heading towards 6-4 in the exchange. The Wall Park is one that's come in for some decent support for Gordon Elliott. Was a 6-1 chance, is into 4-1, and that's probably the one they're looking to. A stable companion of the favourite. It's one that's come in for decent support.
Plenty of setbacks for punters yesterday, though. The New Lion, for all that he was a drifter, obviously he had plenty of supporters in the opener. What about the first today? Can punters get off to a good start?
Well, obviously it's a massive field. I think it's the biggest field ever lined up for the Mares Novice, and at the moment it's all about 6.5. Clear favourite of 5-2. They're not really backing anything to beat it. There was a bit of word for Jubilee Alpha, belonging to or trained by Betfair ambassador Paul Nichols. You can read his thoughts exclusively on betting.betfair throughout the week. He's got plenty of runners today. I think he has 10 runners on the card today, and he was hoping that he's 2 mares in the first, but he's hoping that Jubilee Alpha could run a big race for him at around the 10-1 mark.
Anything else stand out, Barry? Anything being particularly well?
Yeah, there is. One of Philip Fenton's in the per temps is being well supported. Gary Carol de Torres was a 20-1 chance, is in around 10-1 now. Actually, I think it's just turned 9 on the sports book. 6 places to each way punters there. Actually, 6 of the 7 races today are additional place races on the Betfair Sportsbook. We've also in the Kimmuir walking on air has been really, really strong. What a poignant winner he'd be for Alan O'Sullivan. He's currently a 7-2 chance. Outside of that, Gary, I suppose it's just really all about the super boost for us today. Factor file in the Ryanair was 6-4, super boost to 11-4 now.
That's been a huge move, hasn't it, for walking on air? And I don't think it's just sentimental money either, isn't it? There was plenty of support for the horse even before Alan O'Sullivan's name appeared beside him.
Very much so. He's been big chat about it for quite a while now, and the connections of the trainer and that, there seems to be a lot of confidence behind it.
Can he get any shorter than 7-2?
Well, he certainly can, yeah. Again, it's additional places there. It's 5 places, but, you know, when the public latch on, like we saw yesterday, what happened yesterday was, Jane, it must be 1 billion to 1, wasn't it, that those 2 horses would win again on the same day? You know, it's just amazing, and yeah, it leaves you almost speechless, and I think it'd be a fitting. We've had such a roller coaster ride this festival. How great would it be to see his brother ride a winner? I'd say there wouldn't be a dry eye in the house.
It would be something special, wouldn't it? Barry, many thanks. Have a good day today. Barry Orr from Betfair there with the betting news ahead of day 3. When we return in a moment, we'll be looking at the Ryanair Chase.
Here are the 9 runners that will go to post at 3:20 this afternoon for the Grade 1 Ryanair Chase. They're headed by number 1, Jello, for the Venetia Williams team. A horse who's gone from strength to strength this season. He's officially rated 166. Number 2 is Envoy Allen for Henry de Bromhead and Rachel Blackmore, a horse that goes really well at this track. He unseated in the King George last time up. Factor File, he's going to be favourite. He's rated 166, chosen to come here instead of taking on Galopin des Champs in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. He should be suited by this trip. Number 4 is Hang In There, who's officially rated 157 and is trained by Emma Lavelle, and Harry Cobden will be on board. 5 is Heartwood, 159 he's rated for Henry de Bromhead. Dara O'Keefe will ride this horse, who was 4th to Galopin des Champs in the Savills Chase. Il est Français, he's rated 166. He ran such a bold race in defeat in the King George at Kempton. He's likely to make the run. He could be tough to catch. Jungle Boogie is number 7. Another run for Henry de Bromhead. He's booked Danny Mullins to ride. 8 is Master Chewy, who's rapidly improving, and he was back to his best when winning at Newbury last time up. And number 9 is Protectorat. He won this race last year, and he comes into the race in really good form, having won the Fleur de Lis at Windsor last time up. Those are the runners. Here's the betting. And Factifile is the favourite. He's 6-4 with Betfair. Il est Français is 5-2. Protectorat, last year's winner, is 5-1. Jello is 8-1. He's thoroughly progressive, that horse. Envoy Allen, 14-1. Because he has won this race in the past. Jungle Boogie, 14s, 18s. Heartwood, Master Chewy, 40s. Hang in there. The 100-1 outsider, Factifile, is 6-4 favourite. But Protectorat is last year's winner. He's back to try and defend his crown. He comes here in really good form after his Windsor win, and he is trained by Dan Skelton.
We're very, very lucky to have Protectorat. Not only is his talent what it is, but his resolution and his desire is absolutely top quality, and I think that's what gives him the ability to run so well in these races, and why he's got the longevity he has. He'll obviously head back for the Ryanair. This is his only entry, like I say. I think he's got a great chance. I really do.
We know about him. We know exactly what he can do. We're not expecting a higher level necessarily, but do you think last year's performance would be good enough in the context of this year's Ryanair?
I don't know. I don't think he'd be far off, because he did beat Envoy Allen last year, who's won all those Grade 1s, won at the festival. I mean, it was a really good performance, and he put them away up the hill from the back of the last and won by 4 lengths, I think, in the end, which was pretty good. And I don't know if it's good enough. Depends how good Factifile is back in trip, and depends how Il est Français handles the hill and all these things. You know, it might be good enough last year's, but then again, those two might say that it's not.
And we're going to refresh our memory regarding Protectorat's win in last year's Ryanair Chase, where he gets the better of Envoy Allen, multiple Cheltenham Festival winner, of course, Envoy Allen. And Jane, I must admit, I thought he was coming with a beautifully timed challenge this day under Rachel Blackmore, but Protectorat was just too strong for him. Is this, though, a much bigger task for both of them today?
I think so. Look at the context of the race. Stage Star, Conflated, Ahoy Senior, Field Door. This year's race is a better race, no doubt. The younger legs prevailed. It looked like Envoy Allen was coming to take him, as you say, but Protectorat dug in, and ultimately he is a year younger, and I'd say that made all the difference. But Envoy Allen's course form is there for everybody to see. He'll appreciate the ground today, and he's big each way odds. I wouldn't dismiss him finishing out of the 3, but I think Protectorat is probably the most potent threat to the favourite, albeit I think if Factifile is a worthy opponent for the likes of a Galopin des Champs, then he should win this, because I think 2.5 miles may well be his optimum trip. He hasn't exactly disgraced himself in defeat, has he?
Absolutely not. Protectorat's certainly coming here with all guns blazing. Can you see him doing it, Chris, or do you think maybe there might be one in there at least to beat him today?
To beat Protectorat? Yeah, I think so. To me, Factifile is going to take a little bit of beating. I think he's probably got his perfect test this time around. Protectorat, it all fell in place for him last year. It was great to see him win, and he will be there again, I'm sure. He ran pretty well at Windsor, despite that track probably not being perfect for him twisting and turning. But I think Envoy Allen will probably run his race again. He's got such a good record here, but I think it's going to be tougher to win it this year. I think they'll have to run to a higher level this year than last year, and I think at the stage of their careers, running better than last year probably isn't something that they're likely to have in their locker.
Yeah, Protectorat obviously has got a pretty impressive record. Envoy Allen's Cheltenham record is not too shabby either. Having a look at that there, look at that, 6 runs, 3 wins, 4 places altogether.
Just watching Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy is walking in over there, so he's walking in to meet Jennifer Pugh, the doctor, to see if he'll get the green light to ride in today's action.
Yeah.
None to do with the Ryanair.
You seem to be
but
moving well enough there from what I can see.
He's walking better than you and me.
Okay. Oh, speak for yourself there. All right, let's move on and have a look at Factor File. Factor File, that's starting out really well this morning. Factor File, Chris, you mentioned him there. We're going to have a look at him finishing third in the Irish Gold Cup last time, which I think sealed the deal in terms of where he was going to run at Cheltenham. How relevant is this as far as today is concerned? Would you be maybe looking more towards what he's done in the likes of the John Durkin earlier on in the campaign?
To some extent, I think it's all relevant in that he's moving through races like a good horse against good horses. I don't think he's a strong stayer at 3 miles at all, and I know he won the Brown Advisory last year, but even though it was deep ground, the race wasn't really a proper stamina test, was it? And I think he's a quick horse, and I think when we saw him beat Spillens Tower and Galopin de Champs at the start of the season in the John Durkin, we saw a horse that saw out that race really well, but it doesn't mean that he's a 3 miler, and he just looks there. He's not strong at the finish. He's been left behind by Galopin de Champs, so a very special horse. But to me, this is just his perfect storm. Round here, a stiff enough, well-run, near 2 mile 5 furlongs. It's absolutely perfect for him, and I just think his form does stack up. It might not be streets and streets ahead of the rest, but if he's got another jolt of improvement to come, I think it's at this trip round here today.
Yeah, Jane, would you go along with that? He obviously had that verdict over your father's horse Spillens Tower earlier on in the season. Do you think he is maybe a specialist at this sort of distance?
I don't think he doesn't stay 3 miles. He had he had Monty Star, and I know the way you're thinking behind him in that run. I think he got beaten by a better horse. Grange Clare West has obviously let the form down, but I don't think I can take that form literally. I think he does stay 3 miles. I just think he got beaten by the best 3 mile chaser around. But this is probably going to be his optimum credentials, and I'll be honest. Again, it's very hard to look past him.
Willie Mullins has a good record in most races at the Cheltenham Festival. Factor File bidding to add his name to the roll of honour in a race which, as you can see, he's won with Vautour under So Min, and the mighty Allaho twice, the much missed Allaho. What a sight he was here in those 2 Ryanair Chase wins. Chris, could the main obstacle to Factor File today be Il Francais? I think it's great that we're going to see him here at Cheltenham first and foremost. The choice was the Champion Chase or this. The Gold Cup was never really, I think, in the mix. Are they going for the right race, do you feel?
He won the Champion Chase.
Probably, but I don't know. You talk about horses getting their perfect storm. I think Kempton is it for him.
I would agree.
You see time and again Kempton, good jumping, strong travelling, bold front runners. It's absolutely perfect for them. And I know that this track can be a front runner's track, and this race has seen horses pull that off in the past, but I just don't see this being as good for him as at Kempton. I think if Factor File turns up, then he's going to have to be as good as he has been at Kempton, and I just don't see it. So, yeah, I really like the horse. I think probably the Champion Chase would have been the way to go, and just send him, put them under pressure, and just see what happens, because he's definitely not slow.
Yeah, I think if he can jump and travel like he did that day, Jane, he's going to set Factor File a seriously stiff task. But the question is, can he do that round here compared to Kempton, where he's so effective, obviously?
Yeah, and I don't think he has to make the running, but I think that's the way he's best, and he's really quick over his obstacles. To be honest, I think it'll help Mark Walsh get Factor File settled. That has been an issue this season. I think good horses travel at good pace, and Factor File is good enough to be comfortable following Il Francais. What happened in the Champion Chase. There's no point in being retrospective about that now. He's here today. He's a worthy adversary, and I think he's probably the one maybe to give. Look, Protectorat, Il Francais, Factor File, they're the top 3 for me.
Yeah, anything else you can see getting involved, Chris?
Jungle Boogie, moved through the Gold Cup like a talented horse, didn't stay. He's 11 years old, but if you didn't see his age next to him, you'd say he's unexposed, wouldn't you?
But he is unexposed. He's only had 7 runs in his life.
Well, exactly, that's what I mean, but he's an 11-year-old, which kind of makes you think, well, but just the way that he went through the Gold Cup last year and he didn't stay, and I think they're in the right race with him, so he would be the one at a bigger price that I could make an argument for.
Okay, we are looking forward to that one, and 3:20 this afternoon for the Ryanair Chase, Angus.
Yeah, thank you guys for that preview. One of the Grade 1s this afternoon, the Ryanair later on this afternoon. If you are watching us on Freeview, well, thank you very much for being part of this Mark Your Card programme. I hope you've enjoyed our previews and some of our features as well. And if you want more of what we've brought you today and you want to be with us for the coverage this afternoon, then please go to the Racing TV website, racingtv.com, and sign up, become a member of Racing TV to enjoy all that we can bring you. For now, though, goodbye and thank you for watching. I am now going to turn my attentions to the Ryanair and look at it through the prism of the Race IQ data. Some of you may have got to the Race IQ pack. I hope you found that of use this week. And I'm going to have a look at Fact to File. I think everything is in place for him to run a massive race today. He would be my best bet this afternoon. I think he's got a tremendous chance at this trip. He's blessed with plenty of speed. That's one point that I will make a little bit later on. So the trip is going to be no problem today, although he does stay further, as Jane was saying. Let's fence hop him through the John Durkan. What a race this was. Galopin Des Champs was in